Well, firearms policing is a really important part of our policing service. It's vital that they have support, but there are also safeguards in place. Now, there's been a review announced by the Home Secretary. We don't know the details of that review yet. There's also that live prosecution, that court case. So I want, as a politician, to be careful about how I comment on these matters, as you would appreciate. But we obviously need to make sure we have procedures in place which commands the confidence of both the police officers and the communities they serve.
OK, fair enough. And with those thoughts in mind, we move on to another big issue that's being sort of speculated on in the press today, and that is HS2, whether or not this second leg, the northern link between Birmingham and Manchester, should be scrapped. Grant Shapps giving the biggest hint yesterday that it might be, saying that money is not infinite. All the polls suggest you guys and Labour are going to be in charge of our purse strings from next year. Would Labour commit to extending HS2?
I mean, look, it's an absolute shambles, isn't it? An absolute shambles. We're in this state because of 13 years of incompetent, hopeless Tory ministers who've not got a grip of this infrastructure project. And I know I always say nothing works in this country. It looks like now they can't build anything either. Look, I think we need clarity urgently, because this is about business confidence. It's about communities across the North and the Midlands who are asking questions as to where they stand now. We get all these briefings and counter briefings in the newspapers. It's a complete mess. We need to know what the financial situation is. We've always supported HS2 because we think it's an important infrastructure project. We think it adds capacity to the network. That's good for passengers, it's good for freight, and it also adds connectivity across the North. But we need to know what the financial situation is.
Yeah, but do you have
and the government really need to clear this up.
Yeah, but I mean, how much would you spend? Are you prepared to pay whatever it takes, or would you say once we, you don't have to see the books as they stand to be able to say, well, we have a limit to how much we'll spend? Obviously, the government are thinking they're almost at theirs. What would your limit be?
Well, we would assess the situation when we actually know what the exact figures are. Look, 12 months ago, we had a Conservative... But just let me say this, 12 months ago we had a Conservative government being utterly cavalier and irresponsible with the public finances. That's why your viewers are paying more on their mortgages now, £220 more a month on average. It's why we've got the inflation problems, because of that irresponsible approach to the public finances. So I'm making the point. We will not be irresponsible with the public finances. We will always make decisions that put the public finances on a stable footing. So I can't say to you on your show, here's a blank cheque. We need to see what the government figures are, what the government's financial projections are, before we make a judgment.
Okay. Jonathan, what do you think they've done or achieved so far with levelling up? I mean, you mentioned connectivity between west and east there, between Liverpool and Leeds across Manchester. This is about more than just HS2, but generally the government will blow their trumpets. They were on this morning, they were talking about museums and things they've given £1 million to and £500,000 to, but it all seemed very paltry and petty in comparison. Is levelling up happening or not?
No, of course it's not. There'll be a lot of your viewers who are watching this morning in places like Mansfield, Bolsover, Ashfield, Bury or Bolton. These are people who put their trust in the Conservatives for the first time ever because they were promised levelling up. And it's the biggest con ever, hasn't it? There isn't any levelling up. In fact, things have got worse. And it's people in places like Ashfield and Bolsover and Bury and Bolton and Barnsley. I don't know why I'm using all the B's, by the way. But it's people in towns across the Midlands and the North who are paying more on their mortgages because of Conservative decisions, are paying more in tax. 25 Tory tax rises under the Conservatives, and are paying more for petrol and their shopping. I think it's around £400 more for the average family. That's not levelling up. It's making people worse off across the Midlands and the North.
Let's talk about, you want to talk about growth and skills levy. Research has found that the Treasury is clawing back £500 million, £500 million for funding new apprenticeships. What evidence have you got for that?
Well, that's the official statistics, so it's not something we've made up. That's based on the statistics that the government have given us when we asked them for those statistics. And this links back to your question on levelling up. If you want to level up Ashfield, if you want to level up Salford, Bury and places across the north, Rotherham, you've got to invest in reskilling and retraining our workers. We know that we've got a lot of people who are out of work who want to get into good jobs, and we know that there's lots of people already in work who could do more and could improve their wage packets if they got the training and the reskilling out there. But this red tape that the government have introduced is making it harder for businesses to invest in reskilling their workers, and this is something businesses have asked for. This is something businesses are calling for, and we work very closely with businesses because we're the party of business. We're the party of business. We're the party of economic growth. And if you can do this, you can get people into good jobs and spread prosperity across the country.